Hello everyone, this is Chad with Saber. I'll be going over how to operate your Ventus NeoPixel hilt in this video, specifically with the Nano Biscotti V4 installed. So, a quick overview of the hilt. We got two retention screws at the top here. This one is for your NeoPixel connector. You do not have to worry about that one. This one is to lock your blade in place, and you just use the Allen key provided. You got one 12mm switch, a nice battle wrap going down the bottom half of the hilt, and on the pommel at the bottom, very nice speaker vents. Alright, time to open it up and get the chassis out. So you just unscrew your pommel, give your hilt a couple shakes down, twist the chassis out, and this chassis is nice and 3D printed. And it went for a redesign after the first one used in the prototype, because I know some of you will be using your Sabers all day, so we made the battery removable and had the battery holder built into the chassis. So to remove your battery, you just push down and pull back on the battery at the same time. This is the 15 amp high discharge 18650 battery. Pop the back in, pop the front in. And the top is positive, bottom is negative. There is symbols on the inside. Make sure not to mess that up and switch the polarity. So on the top, you got the Nano Biscotti Easy SD card access. 28mm high bass speaker at the bottom. And here we have a kill key with the recharge port. So you can either just swap out batteries, charge the batteries in one of those big chargers, or you can leave that battery in and just charge it through the recharge port, which you would use the charger that is provided and you just plug it in to the hole. And the charger will be lit up red while the battery is not fully charged, and then turn green once it's fully charged. So when anything is in the recharge port, it's cutting power to the Saber. So when you pull it out, it'll boot up the Saber. And you won't only pull out your SD card when the battery is removed or something's in the recharge port. Alright. Once you get it back in, you just want to give it some turns, and then use the pommel to push the chassis in the rest of the way. And this is done so you don't mess with the speaker. Alright, one more thing. If your chassis is rattling, then you just need to pull your chassis out and turn it left a little bit, and this will release some tension, or release the coil on the wires up top, and then it'll make the chassis much more tighter in there. So just mess around with that to your liking. So let's put a blade in. So the way the connectors are on the NeoPixel hilt and blade, you can turn the blade in any direction and the connection will still work perfectly. So you just want to tighten the blade with your Allen key, and then you just press it once to ignite it, and then hold it to retract the blade. Once more, quick press, hold it to retract. And then say you're playing at night, you don't want to wake the kids, or wake anyone for that matter. To get into mute mode, you hold the button and wait for one beep, and then let go. One beep, and then let go. And if you want to switch sound fonts, there's 3 of them on the Nano Biscotti. You hold the button for 2 beeps and then let go. and a new font will boot up. Press it again quick. Rotate to the last one. One last thing I need to mention is for the flash on clash is another feature on the Nano Biscotti V4. So if you tap the blade on something, you can set the color it makes when it flashes then. So removing your blade, you just unscrew this retention screw. Pull the blade out, and then so when you've left the Saber for a while, it'll go into deep sleep mode, which will cut off, which will use minimal amounts of power, and then if you press it once, it'll reboot up the Saber. But if you want to make sure that no pressing of the button is going to turn on your Saber hilt whatsoever, or if you're done playing with it for the night or whatever, or transporting it, then you probably want to put the kill key back in or just take out the battery. So there's the recharge port, and just gotta look where I'm going. Plug the kill key back in, and then it's good for transportation. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I put the data line resistor on the blade side. I believe most other companies putting out NeoPixel blades are putting the data line resistor on the blade side. So just know that if you do happen to build your own blade, it's on the blade side. So first thing you want to do before messing around with the settings on your SD card is to make a copy of the contents on your SD card, and then create a backup folder on your PC. So I'm just going to create a new folder here, and I'll call this my base profile. This is essentially what I just call my backup. This is just how I name my folders. So I just drag over the SD card contents, and then I copy the base profile, paste it, and then I call this one profile 1. So the base profile you'll never touch. This is your backup with the original settings from when you got the Saber, and it's important that you keep it to so that your LED strip pixel settings are the same. And so the profile 1, that's the folder that you can tweak the settings and make your changes, add sound fonts, and that'll be put onto your SD card later. So looking at your override file here, at the LED strip number here, right now it's set to 0, but on your Saber it'll be set to the number of pixels in one strip on your blade. So if you do purchase another blade from another company or owner, make sure to get the number of pixels in the blade from them. So if you do use that blade, then you can just change the number. So looking up here at the beep number, that's the sound when you switch sound fonts, you'll hear the beep. I think that's a pretty good volume. It's a lot louder on the Prism. And then volume right here is 0 to 4, 0 being mute, 4 being the loudest. So I just want to go over color changing. So the Nano Biscotti doesn't have color changing on the fly. So you have to go into each individual bank and set the main blade color and the flash on clash color. So you'll only be limited to 3 colors at a time. So if you go into bank 1 here, We're just going to go into the config file now, and these first set of values for drive, that's your main blade color, and then the F drive is your flash on clash color. So you have 3 values here. Each value can range from 0 to 1023. So if it's at 1023 right here, then red is the color being displayed at its full power, and 0 for green, 0 for blue. They're both off. So if I were to change blue to 1023, then I'd be mixing red and blue. If I were to change that back to 0 and give green 1023, then those would mix to create yellow. Lastly, we got Q on and Q off. So at 0, your extension and retraction speed are based on the length of the sound file, but you can adjust this. The values range from 0 to 3000, and if it's closer to 0, then you have a faster ignition retraction. So for example, 800 ignition sequence would be way faster than 3000 value. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to put a sound font that you purchased or created yourself onto your Nano Biscotti. So on the right here I have a sound font, a Yoda font created by Shamim. I purchased this from saberfont.com, and they have a large selection of sound fonts, hundreds of fonts that you can purchase and put onto your Saber. So be sure to check it out. So now we're gonna go to the left side here where we got our profile 1, and this is the profile that we can edit. This is not our backup. So we're gonna change bank 1 to this Yoda sound font. So if you go into bank 1 here, you can see all these different types of sound files. So in the Nano Biscotti, you're allowed 1 boot sound, 1 power on sound, 1 power off, 1 hum, 16 clashes, and 16 swings. So you can't use blasters, even though this includes it on the left side here. It's just not being used by the Nano. So you can choose your boot sound, copy, Control C, Control V, then replace the boot sound. And now the boot sound here is the Yoda boot sound. And then you can take 16 clashes, copy it, Control V, replace the 8 that's there. Now you have 16 clashes from the Yoda sound font on your profile 1. And then you just get hum. There's no color change sound, there's no combo, there's no force sound. Copy, paste, replace it. Get power on, power off. Replace. Then 16 swings, copy, paste, and replace those ones. So now all your sound files on the left side here in your profile 1 are now filled with the Yoda sound font. So if you go back, what you need now to do is format your SD card. So now the Nano Biscotti is empty, and you just want to drag each file over one by one. And then click eject on your SD card, and you're good to go. Thanks for watching, everyone.